Amber, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. It looks nice and sunny where you are. It's not necessarily here, but also you are in the Flamingo House. So I feel like it's always a vibe in the Flamingo House from everything that I hear and see.
That's good to hear because it is kind of fun. It's
Yeah,
fun, a fun workplace. We try to make it fun, whether it's taping some things at the front door for people to hopscotch their way out of the for the weekend or
that's
any
so cute.
prank. We do a lot of high fiving around here. So yeah, no, the vibe check. We got that.
Yeah. Well, let's start there for a second because Flamingo House is a co-working space, but it's so much more than that. It really is a community. It really is an event space. It really is a place for people to connect with one another, dream bigger. And there's so many other things that you do outside of just a co-working space, like you said. So sometimes you do hopscotch outside. How do you navigate eye rolls? Like, do you ever worry that there are going to be adults that are like, seriously?
Yeah, I'm okay with that though. I feel, I came from a corporate background, so I wanted to create a daily that felt creative and welcoming and hospitality and everyone come as they are. There are going to be, some of that, but um, we it's a hospitality kind of touch point front. Like we keep a space very productive. It's a step up from a coffee house. Coffee houses sometimes are very busy, loud. This is taking your profession to another step. And we have shared workspace, dedicated desks, private offices, all that. But yeah, the occasional co-working etiquette is a real thing where we try to keep a focused space in the shared workspace the level down, and we have a little light music playing and instrumental and good for the brain kind of music. So we definitely try to create a productive space since it's getting a little more difficult if you don't have a private office. You're either in the phone room or everybody has different levels of work, whether it's,
Sure.
oh, I'm on laptop more, oh, I'm on calls all day, so there's a balance of how do we foster that environment of, high fives and all that, but keeping people, giving them their space. If you have headphones in, don't come my way. I'm on a meeting, and if not, let's talk. So we
Yeah.
create collaborative nooks, and we're very respectful to, us allowing founders, entrepreneurs, hybrid professionals to come in, do what they do well, and then leave with less resistance.
Yeah. Well, I hear nothing but incredible things from people that actually go to Flamingo House. So I just want to edify you for what you are building because the intention you're putting behind it seems to be actually coming to life. And I'm seeing that on the forefront with someone on our team who actually goes to the Flamingo House. So that's how we were connected. Take us back, if you will, because we're running the Flamingo House today. We're going to talk about what that looks like. And we're going to talk really a lot about community because I think that's something you do so beautifully. But you also had a career in TV production, and you've worked with people like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Flo Rida. So I'd love to hear just a little bit about your journey of sort of where you started and then how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, no, grew up on the mean streets of Boca Raton, Florida. Um, and then went to Florida State, played soccer there. ESPN really taught me fast-paced editing. And then when I became a coordinating producer for the Miami Heat, we had a show called Inside the Heat. It was more under the marketing umbrella of diving into these players' life stories and where they came from and meeting their families and just telling their life story was very touching because it was a very important thing to do. And, granted it was under the marketing umbrella, but there were some really great stories told. And we had some award-winning Emmys there. And then I went to be a senior promotions producer at Fox Sports, and a lot of great learn more about the 360 degrees of marketing strategy.
Yeah.
The from grassroots activation to digital campaigns to on air. The whole spoke. And I think at the Heat, I learned a lot about storytelling, producing, editing, branding. But then when I went to Fox, the whole spoke. And the celebrities are just people. Everyone's human, and it's pretty cool. I'm 5 foot nothing, 5'3" rounding up. And Dwayne Wade's, 6'4", LeBron, so it's fun. Shaq was standing next to him. I had my size 6 shoe next to him. I have a picture of my foot next to Shaq's at his house. So that's a
Oh
good
my
one.
gosh.
And then, yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, they were actually friends with Pat Riley. We're doing a show on him, and actually went to their home in Montreal, outside of Montreal. And it was one of their homes, I'm sure. But it was a funny story. We were in their home, and, you know, I'm with my camera guy because, and then we're like, oh, take your shoes off. So we took our shoes off the front door because there's all these shoes at the front. So I was like, take them, you know, and then I was like, you're barefoot. And I was like, put your shoes back on, put your shoes back on. And then they're like, but anyways, they welcomed us into their home. I mean, we actually did end up barefoot. And, you know, these just storytelling has become second nature. And I love it. I think it's important for business, purpose-driven brands and helping market yourself. So
do you have any tips or frameworks or like 3 key points that someone should always hit when they're doing storytelling for their brand?
it's a great question. You know, there's always a hook, you know, to start off. And, you know, what we used to create with shows called teases, trailers, like film trailers. I sort of do the same thing, even if you're, you know, trying to tell a story, whether it's copy, whatever form of media, like copy in a photo, video, and all the things. Like, what is that 5 seconds that you want to draw that person in? We just did we're doing some member videos, and one of our members is very philosophical, and, you know, his first soundbite just draws you in. It's just raw, no music, and then all of a sudden we cut to music and tell the story. But get that hook is a really good, you know, the first 5 seconds for that, and then let's just say the next 15 seconds is why is this important to me? What value are we bringing to the audience? And then, you know, a good clincher, and you kind of want to save the best for last, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that kind of framework, and just cutting out the fluff. I'm big on just like getting right to who you are authentically. You know, listen, we all, you know, there's so much out there, so it's hard to navigate through that, you know. But as far as cut out the fluff and be authentically who you are, and then what unique selling points or value do you bring that's different from someone else? And we all have, you're different from someone else, and everyone has their own DNA, so everyone's different. So
yeah, just by nature, we don't have to try to be different.
Right.
It's so funny how hard we try to either be the same or to be different, but innately we just are. And so the more you can just step into who you are, then by default, you're doing it.
Right. And to that point, that's a great point. Last thing I'll say there is, you know, even starting in my career, I was kind of like, oh, you know, TV doesn't make much, or, you know, but I just had a love and passion for storytelling, and, you know, TV happened to be that driver in the beginning, and now I've shifted more to brand you know, storytelling, marketing strategy, and finding your purpose and your why, and just hone in on that. And if you're finding a solution in the marketplace that is a demand that, you know, we're working on something that we feel is a huge demand, a solution to something, and it's purposeful, it is gonna, you know, you're gonna wake up every morning excited, and, you know, that energy will carry you through.
Yeah. I'm curious if you think it's most important to build the community and the brand first, and then come up with the solution for those people, or is it most important to create the product with the solution and then try to build the community and the audience and the brand?
I always start with like there's a solution, solving something. But then what happened with the Flamingo House was something special, that it became bigger than we thought. Like, as far as, we're boutique, but right now, but we, you know, just to take it back, after leaving Fox Sports, I was working on my home office. I had 4 people working out of my home office, dogs barking when I'm on the phone with my client. And I'm like, we need a work solution, right? But I've already researched many years prior to that. And I just thought it was such an interesting concept. Lab in Wynwood, there was a little first co-working space in Wynwood, was 7 people in one room. And one of my friends worked out of there, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. You guys all collaborate. And it just was such a different mindset from the corporate
Right.
world. So I feel like I became a corpreneur. Like I was already starting to get, and I believe that you should keep that main stake of a job and then work on what you're doing next, and then make the plunge, fly, and all of that. But for us, it was a huge solution to a work solution, and we already were plugged into a creative community, and we're like, they needed something similar. So, but then when we're in the environment and beautiful things are happening, and we're having Women's Day events, workshops, and creative mornings, and this, that, and it just became more special than what we initially planned.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you leave corporate and you decide to go all in on a community workspace. Is that the transition at that point?
Yes, I actually was, I did video and branding. I left and I did my own video and branding. I kind of already had, can assemble a team from 2 to 20. And that's where working with Flowrider, our first gig out, Fox National called and was like, wait, you left. And so that was but I started doing a lot of hotel branding, autograph collection hotels, some in Boston and New York, On View, The Row. There's several up there that it's story time with hotels, which speaks to the architecture, speaks to the interior design, speaks to the legacy asset that this hotel will probably be there for a long time. And the story and the marketing that comes, the feeling that you feel when you go there, and that user experience and brand touch points. So I was doing, I would say we were doing video kind of comes along with branding. So you start with the branding, and then the next carry through was video and content creation. I got away from the question. What was the question?
No, it's okay. Just the transition. Cause now what are we're at like 2016 at this point, 2015,
Oh,
16?
so yeah. So diving into the workspace model, then I'm like, I had a in-house team at that point, we created the Flamingo House, and we had a team running that as well. And, I think naturally I was like, that I just was obsessed with, just loved the community component where it just, so 2016, we had the first location for 5 years, and, having art walks, and it's a very thoughtful design. And, we were in an industrial chic area before, so we really activated the space, public art, all the things, and brought value to the landlord, which he ended up selling for 10x.
Wow.
And then not four 10x, not 2 10x's.
Sure.
And then the pandemic hit, and actually our lease, it was a perfect timing where we're like, okay, so we let it breathe for a bit. It took me a year and a half to find another location. And so we've been in this location for a couple years, and we're hoping it's kind of like our was our next nest, phase 2.0. But we really, during that time, assessed the workspace model and co-working model. So we've been really diving into that and what the next steps are for the Flamingo House, but also a prop tech tool that helps other co-working spaces, solves the landlord dilemma, enhance the working experience. So that's
very
what
cool.
we've been working on for a few years. And so we're looking for partners right now, but as far as what we've been seeing and studying with our members and the community, that this is a huge solution.
Yeah.
We're excited. It's massive of a, so
well, because it's a completely different, I mean, you're talking about like a SaaS tech company at this point.
The Flamingo House would carry out this next model of co-working. A tweak in the model that provides some equity back to the member, as well as creates this smaller footprint. We believe that like solo private offices, we believe in we time and collaborative time, but me time, right? We need to go and then, be in our focus space. So it's kind of that balance of that. And then the prop tech tool is separate from the Flamingo House. So hoping that other co-working spaces and other landlords commercial real estate operators, they adopt this method. So, I mean, we're going to be doing it. So
Sure.
we believe that's the next step.
That's awesome. So exciting. Did you
Yeah.
see a difference between how people were working or what they wanted out of co-working pre and then post pandemic? Was there any shift?
I think the shift was more in how we work. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of they need more flexibility.
Mhm.
So we made our memberships as flexible as hourly, daily, and monthly. We don't, we have some incentive for a longer term. Yet we believe that the digital nomads that are coming in, the hybrid professionals, the remote workers, everyone's so different. So it's
Yeah.
like before we thought we had it pinned, but then after the pandemic, Zoom calls and video calls and all are just way more intense. And so to keep the level of productive environment to not co-working coffee space, but it's not to be this loud environment. We have to have intentional nooks. And so that's where we've noticed just intense Zoom calls. So people are more on the phone and all that. So it's the open space we don't believe works anymore, but we
Gotcha.
believe it has to have some intention. I mean, it still is very vital and important. I'm not saying it's just there's just more of a work pod solution. So
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit more private time, but still have the option to come out and meet at the water jug, and be able to
yes.
collaborate with one
Well,
another.
that's a
And
funny thing you said that, because in our private offices, we don't have garbage cans trash cans
oh,
so we force you to get up and go throw away your garbage in the central unit. It also cuts down on cleaning and our
sure.
community connectors having to dump each bin. So it's just streamlining, but
So
also gets people
smart.
up and walking around. We have a little bit of a minimalistic, mindset here. So.
Yeah. What other types of cool things are you doing like that sort of subconsciously promote collaboration and community?
We do the occasional office pranks. We have, workshops. Trying to think of, we always leave occasional just notes and get
Yeah.
inspirational, or hey, we leave flamingos on their cars or
Yeah, I
things.
saw that. Like the Jeep people who leave ducks. I saw little rubber
Yeah.
flamingos. That's so
Yeah.
cute.
There's so many flamingo puns for days. Yeah, we see a lot of our tech startups, some of them recently got funded. So flock then fly is the tagline, and it's not just a tagline, but it's a mantra in here. So we want you to, if you're outgrowing us, it's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
hopefully we have more space later, so they're not outgrowing us as much, but the thought is there's tech startups that are getting funded, and it's just they've been with us since the first location, and just watching
Wow.
the process of really, this isn't just a workspace, no offense against it's, there's executive suites that are transactional or just executive suites, but this is a really activated workspace. We have member perks like massages and certain things, but
Wow.
member events as well as public events, and it seems to have a good time.
Yeah. What's the meaning behind the flamingo? How'd you pick that for the brand? Because you have so many cute branding shoot offs now from it, but where'd that come from?
I love flamingos, obsessed with them. Just grew up, my elementary school was the Fighting Flamingos. And so I used to
So
draw
Florida.
them. Yeah. And then for 6 months, to be honest, my co-founder of the first location, I was brainstorming so many different names, and nothing was clicking, that I was like, yes, and then one evening I'm looking at a flamingo book, and I'm like, wait, flamingos do better together than they do alone. House is inviting, and the Flamingo House, flock and fly. And then I see the branding, and I see the triangle, which is like a house and moving in a flock together, and just all the kind of patterns and Branding components, they're very subtle in the space, actually. If
Yeah.
you'll only see, other than my maybe coffee cup of a flamingo, you'll only see our logo on the outside of the building. We don't have any logos in the inside of the building because we want this to feel like a shared workspace. It's more yours than mine. Like
Right.
it's more his than their, like this is a communal, so we don't want logos switching out and all the things. We want it to feel like this collaborative ecosystem and atmosphere here.
Yeah. And you do such a great job of that too, because I've seen when Lauren's on calls, a lot of the wallpaper, it's just black and white. It's not pink. Like you would think Flamingo House would be maybe very pink and the branding is over the top and ruffles and feathers and all of that. It's not at all. It's super clean. But then you also have really cute swag, things that say like 0 flocks given. It's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of flamingo swag. Go check that out, and co-working swag. And then we definitely from our last we did a rebrand, and it was kind of, after the pandemic, so it was like time for a refresh, but our old brand was probably a little bit more pink, and then this I'm like 10% hot pink, like no more, like less pink, and then it's more of the sand color, which is like taupe sand, like coastal, and then just, the pop of pink, and you can maybe see here, but kind of just the flock of flamingos with only one triangle being pink and the rest being tan.
Yeah.
We definitely have to tone down some of our pinks. I don't know. Yeah, we have a brand guide, but sometimes we all kind of just do the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about community for a second, because it's interesting that you're leaning so heavily on community building and this idea of flock. And I get that because I feel the same way. A rising tide lifts all ships. And also it's a co-working space. So people are coming in, they're doing their own thing, they're working on their own business or for their own corporation. Yet so much of what you offer is community driven. I'll never forget the first time Lauren told me she was going to a pickleball, like a Flamingo House pickleball game or something. And I was like, what? You're doing what? And I've seen on your website and on your social media, there's, art installations and fairs and games and field days and all sorts of things like that. So what's the driving force behind community, and how do you think that affects things like retention, word of mouth, repeat customers, stuff like that?
Great question. We believe our members, I mean, a lot of the members that have been with us since the last location as well, they stay longer, they're more involved, they want to help pay for the happy hour, they want to speak at the Women's Day event, they want to be invested more.
Yeah.
And so they're staying longer. They also, recommend, it just becomes this like ecosystem of, oh yeah, I heard about the Flamingo House. And then it's for one, it's for the public, it's for the community, external community, but we have, like I said, a lot of member only specific events to help their businesses, workshops and such, so they can thrive. But yeah, no, community building has always been important to us. And it, like I said, when we first started it, we were like, I was doing art walks, my co-founder at the time probably wasn't too happy, but I was like, we're doing art walks every month. And we eventually we were kind of doing too much event planning and such, and we had it down templated, but it was so important to us where I was like, this has to happen. This is just like, it brings in the community, brings it into our members, and the beautiful collaboration that happened, that you can't even tell how many stories happen from that, like how many connections happen from that. And that's the beautiful thing. And if you do, the people who are members who are here, they do know that and understand that. And it's not really talked about too much, but like if you're in here, we're, pulling each other for a second opinion. We're doing worship, hey, what's that live feedback in the hallway? Like, hey, how are you doing on that? Accountability. And it's not just a buzzword. It's truly community building, activated co-working is different from a little different from just executive suite workspace.
Right. And it becomes some of your marketing, because they kind of do it for you when they're posting about what the activities are and telling their friends about it. It becomes this ecosystem, like you said, of marketing that you don't have to do. It's just hard to quantify the ROI sometimes.
Right. Yeah, that's where we would have 10 tours the week after an art walk, like right away off the bat, because
I have to ask, what's an art walk, by the way?
Oh, it's like so we had pop-up vendors, and
Okay.
so we would have, say, up to 20 to 50 pop-up vendors. Now, those pop-up vendors might have 10,000 followers, and they're posting for their to their audience. And so everyone's posting their audience. We invite the community in, our members are very much involved, and it's just this pop-up event and live music. If you go on our page, you can see on the events page, you know, all different types of local curated goods, handmade goods. So are some of our members who do have products, or they're there, you know, it's very much when we consistently were doing it. I mean, we put it on pause, and especially in Florida, it gets really hot in the summers. But you know, our last one, yeah, it's just, it's a marketing tactic too, where you have grassroots activation of people just sharing content, and it's then the word gets out a little bit more, and you know, 10 to 20 tours the next few days.
Yeah.
So if the ROI, if you know, members sign up after that, then that kind of pays for the event and such like that. But for us, it was fun. It got everyone involved. It helped with marketing, all the things.
Yeah. I would say the majority of our audience that listens to this podcast, they're digital business owners, and they're doing digital courses and coaching programs, and they're digital service providers. So when you're talking about things like grassroots activations, or even doing these events, how can someone who's really in the digital landscape translate community building digitally? Like, what are some things they can do digitally?
That's a great question. I'd have to think on that. Digital grassroots activation. Well, I mean, if you actually think of something authentically, and I don't know, let's just say one out loud, but you know, we did something that came up with for the Miami Heat. We we did a show, and these guys did 20-foot Miami Heat statues out of styrofoam, 25-foot. And we did a scavenger hunt all around the city. Granted, we had a team pulling permits, and it was like, where are they going to pop up next? But if people found them, and then they got prizes, and it became this like viral video before preseason. So
it's like the Pokemon Go.
What's that?
It was like Pokemon Go.
It actually was so super fun. And then you know, I'm just thinking through what's you know, authentically, how do you want to speak to your audience? But you know, grassroots wise, I'd say do a grassroots event, film it, and then take that digital. But I'm trying to think, it'd have to be like more specific. I'm trying to think more broad stroke, but yeah, no, that's a great question.
Yeah. I think a lot of times
component. Yeah,
it is. Because you talked about the 360-degree approach to marketing when you were at Fox Sports, and it was like the grassroots and the digital, and there's all these different things that we can do. And I think so often we forget, I say we, because I'm in the digital space as well. So I'm speaking collectively for the digital entrepreneur, but a lot of times we do forget that we still have the ability to do things grassroots. We can host events, we can do pop-ups, we can do activations. And it doesn't just always have to be a webinar, a Zoom call, a challenge. But something that you do on your page as well that I've noticed is you do community shout outs. So whether it's member shout outs or Flock team members, on your social media page, you're using your digital platform to still create and foster that feeling of community. Is that something that you've always done, or did that come up because you were trying to like gamify things or incentivize clients?
Yeah, like that. I think that's where we're not your average neighbor, where I came from a very cutthroat industry. Corporate, and it's just very competitive, and I didn't like that. It like icked me out. So the collaborative approach is we share best practices with our other community building co-working spaces, very much so. We have Creative Mornings chapter in Palm Beach. We're constantly wanting to partner with local partners that are a fit and that makes sense for both. And yeah, that's huge. I mean, we have we're planning an upcoming event. One woman does PR. She does a TEDx Boca Raton, and she and then there's one other member who does women in film chapter. And so we might do an International Women's Day coming up. So that's being planned right now. But you know, just this cross coordinate, you know, it's authentically what we're trying to do, which is help everyone thrive, so, and rise. So that, and then to that point of what you're saying about the digital and the grassroots, it's like, think big and think, just be authentic about it, but then also think big of what you could do. I mean, one campaign, it was a contest with Fox where they're like, how can we compete against SportsCenter? And it was, and at that time I was like, we could use Tint, who has a hashtag, or that aggregates hashtags, and we could do one up, and basically you could create a SportsCenter by sitting on your couch. Sorry, a game day, college game day. So
Sure.
behind it, you have the anchors, and behind you have the teams that are competing against each other, but you could be on your couch, it filters, but and then it, you know, creates this digital game day experience, but you could be anywhere to be on the background of the TV, which we won this contest. Actually we got second, but my point is thinking big of like, what could you just think big, but then also how does it, don't take tiny steps, like stay authentically to your pace of like what you're trying to do. Like for Fox, that was different, right? I had all we had the budget, we had the, you know, the means, but like, I feel like we've been working on something a long time, and now it's like, I have to, we are staying at our pace because that's what feels comfortable. So, you know, these ideas are great, but then just keep staying on your, what you're trying to accomplish, you know, don't be too not who you are.
Yeah. I always say forward is a pace.
Yes.
Right. Like if, so long as you're moving forward, it's still a pace. Doesn't have to be fast. Doesn't need a speed. Yeah.
One step forward. Yes.
Yeah. Compound effect.
Tiny inches.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to make any assumptions. I know I definitely have had a lot of flops in my business. I've made mistakes or just had things that didn't go as planned. I'm curious if you've ever done anything with Flamingo House that you were maybe like really excited to put out. And I'll give you an example. Maybe you were really excited to put out a monthly book club, and within 3 months, you're like, this thing is just not sticking. Have you had any sort of flops or things that just didn't really work out? And if so, what were they?
Good question. I think we don't talk about failures enough, you know,
bring it on.
yeah. I mean, there's a big one happening, recently happened. So, but as far as I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, we have like the outdoor events. Here we are putting on all this manpower to put on an event, and it might threaten rain, and then the audience doesn't show up. So now all the pop-up vendors aren't making money, they're upset. But what can you do? So it's like, it happens, and you just have to, I've learned, and my mentor told me this, is he was a sports psychologist. He's, you know, it's neutral thinking. He taught neutral thinking. And okay, well, this sucks, right? But if you if you think negative thoughts, it's gonna, you know, that's gonna affect you times 10. But if you just stay neutral thinking that, okay, this happen, and how can we, you know, move forward? And so, yeah, things like that happen all the time. And, you know, I believe that we're working on something really great right now, and that can help with this ecosystem and the beautiful thing that workspace and co-working spaces provide, and which is a beautiful, you know, entrepreneurship spirit that once you taste it, you're just like, yes, this is like, you'll probably never go back to corporate. Or so this I believe that, yeah, we're just in a moment right now. And I think with what we're working on, it's tough. It's like, you know, funding, and you know, you have a team, but it's like, you know, there's a lot to tackle, right? And so just next step.
Yeah. Did you have to originally raise money or capital to open up the first space?
No, we self-funded.
Wow. Wow. I feel like that's such a big barrier to entry to people, is the brick and mortar concept is just obviously the space, the electricity, the heat, the plumbing, like there's just so many barriers to entry. And I feel like the digital landscape is so much easier for people to get into, yet there's still so many fears, and there's still so much hesitation for people to jump in. So I just commend you for going all in on a brick and mortar.
Yeah, no, it was, and then actually when WeWork was getting large with the SoftBank, 20 billion, all the buzz around that time, we were approached by many investors. And I was like, well, this model isn't like super profitable unless you have a lot of space and you own, and there's different uh methods to how co-working works. And so yeah, no, this was when during the pandemic, when I didn't have it, I was like, where are my people? It's
Yeah.
like I felt just this void, and yet we were still all collaborating. We were flocking each other's yards. It was still like this, we're not defined by this like physical brick and mortar. But as I do believe that, meeting in person is still important, and
Yeah.
and that human experience there.
For sure. I think that's one of the hardest things about working from home. And I've been doing it far longer than pandemic. And I was doing it many, many years before. And it always was a little bit lonely. Like it's amazing. And there's part of it where I can go an entire week without leaving the house, aside from a WALK with the dog. I can't say it because he's right there.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I mean, like truly a week can go by, and Mike and I, now he works from home with me as well, my husband, and we'll look at each other and we're like, wow, we haven't left since Sunday, like when we went and got groceries or something. So
yeah,
I do think it's so important. Do you go into the office every day yourself?
I do. There's times when I have out of office meetings, and I might take a call on the skateboard or take my little scooter to go grab lunch. But as far as you actually, I saw one of your podcasts, you had a great quote. It said, there's freedom in structure.
Mhm.
So you can work from home, which, some people can do, right? You've proved it, but sometimes it's also nice getting out and, being with people and
Yeah.
networking, or just kind of being in that space where you see people on calls. I mean, we have couple people, one from Snapchat, one group from Lululemon, and they use the conference room and all that, but she's a member since our last location, director at Lululemon. So we have small startups,
Right.
mid-sized companies, and large enterprises. So, but that needing to, kind of all come together. There is, but you can structure that, right? You can
Mhm.
say, I want to be with my family, my dog more, but my dog's barking a little bit more. I'm kind of throwing the dishes in when I should be doing
Yeah.
other things. For me, I couldn't separate work from home. I would come home and I would wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, I should do, I couldn't separate it. So I
Yeah.
actually don't go, majority of the time won't go home and do any work.
Yeah.
It's just my
It's
space.
nice. It is
Yeah.
nice to compartmentalize it. I've had to, over the years, create sort of compartments within the home, even if it's a subconscious thing where it sounds crazy, but there's a particular couch I'll just never work on. I'll never work in my bed or my bedroom. So yeah, like exactly. And if you're not watching YouTube, Amber kind of did the like I'm falling asleep thing with her head to the side, but it's the same thing with meditation. Like I will never meditate in my bed because my bed is for sleeping and one other thing. But when you meditate in your bed, oftentimes you do fall asleep because your body's trained to do that. So there's particular areas that I won't let where I meditate ever be where I work or where I sleep, and then vice versa. And so we've had to kind of come up with areas in the home like that. But I think also it's really easy to like not get dressed or do the whole Zoom mullet, like nice shirt on top, leggings on bottom. And when you go into a place like Flamingo House, you're probably a little bit more inclined to put a little bit of like effort into how you look. And usually that determines oftentimes how we feel and then your productivity. So I'm like 10 out of 10. I love it. We just moved here about a month ago to this new location that we're in. So I'm still like, oh, maybe there's a space like Flamingo House around here, even just once a week to get out. Because as it is, I love to go to a coffee shop once a week. But to your point, it's not the same thing. How many members do you have, give or take?
We have about 50 right
Amazing.
now. Not everybody's here at the same time, and some are
Yeah.
virtual mailboxes, members, or the virtual mailbox / social membership. And to speak to your point that, yeah, there's work leisure wear here. We'll be in leisure wear, or we'll be in our work leisure where it's like most of the time I'm wearing a graphic tee, oversized blazer and jeans.
Yep.
today I happen to bring just like a pop of pink heels,
Oh,
but
look at your shoe.
that's just because I have a meeting after, but that usually I'm in these other sneakers that I have here as well that are just, so, you know, it coming as you are and what's comfortable. And then it does feel nice to sometimes when you know, my soccer coaches say, if you, you dress, like we always had to dress up when we went to the airports and such. And it was like, why? It's like when you look good, it's half the battle.
Yeah, it really is.
Just feel better, you present better.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah.
I was with my friend running an errand the other day, and she's like, yeah, I just have to stop by my client's house. I was like, okay, because we were picking up a design element here. And then so just stop by, and it was a massive multi-million like home, but also entrepreneur. And I was dressed like a child. Like I had a hat on, and it was, you know, they were asking about co-working, gave the, you know, business card and all that, but it's like, did not expect that. And I felt so like, I don't know, but I'm like, but you know, my best friend was like, but that's who you are. You're just like, you're an entrepreneur. You can dress like whatever you want to feel like that day.
Yeah.
So
It is funny. There's that like gray area between just like you're saying, authentically showing up and this is how I would dress and I'm traveling today or I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And then sometimes, yeah, you do run into someone or meet someone where you're like, I feel so unprofessional or whatever that would be. So, all right. Are you down for some rapid fire questions?
love it.
Cool. Before we get into that, where can people find you, learn more about Flamingo House, what you have going on? Maybe if they're in the Boca Raton area, they can come in and check it out. Tell us what you have and where we can find you.
Yeah, we're in downtown Boca, right across the street from a lot of restaurants, lounges, all that. You can find us on theflamingohouse.com, at the Flamingo House and all the things. So we have YouTube and all that, but mainly our Instagram, we're pretty up to date with.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I'm so grateful for the conversation today. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Rapid fire. If it wasn't a flamingo, what would it have been?
We were going off of like the plane thing, like you know, what was the other ones? Oh my God, I have a whole like working brand book of it. It was kind of like the flight hanger, like the air. So we're still going with the flying, but I don't know, a koala. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I forgot, that was so long ago, but I would have to like bring out my notes of where we were, but that's funny. But if it wasn't a flamingo, I do love I have a wiener dog. So as far as like not mascot for my work, but I'm a wiener dog fan.
Oh, what's boy or girl?
Girl, Bree.
What's
I was eating
Bree?
and I got her. So but as far as there we go.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Wait, you said you have your dog.
I do. He's sleeping, but
okay. Oh my gosh.
I know, isn't he so cute?
Beautiful.
Thanks.
What kind of dog is that?
A boxer pit bull border collie. He's a rescue.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, great combination.
So good. Are you currently in your office? Is that like the founding office, or are you just in one of the rooms?
I'm in the conference room right now, but this was our second location. So
okay. Love it. What are you currently reading or listening to?
I'm reading, well, you know how you start a book and then you have another book, so you have two nightstands. I have one that's like self-healing, about awareness, and then another one that's like a SaaS book. And then there's another great one. Oh, Dr. Holistic is a self-healing, but I think healing is so really great for entrepreneurs in your business, your personal life, all the things. But this the holistic psychologist on Instagram, you know, she's amazing. So
Nicole.
Yes. So I have two of her books. And so I'm kind of like, what do I feel like? So do I want to be in the self-heal right now mode or entrepreneurship? So those are, but I have a whole stack that's like by my, it's like try to find. So I love it though. And I love how you color coordinated your books behind. I love that.
Always.
That is love it.
Mixed in with the crystals. We got all the colored books. If you were to give a TED talk on nothing that you're known for, So no community, no Flamingo House, no TV production, no marketing, no branding. What would you give your TED Talk on?
Divergent thinking.
Ooh, I love that.
Google divergent thinking. You'll rabbit hole. The word divergence. No,
I love that. We had a, oh, I don't want to tell because we're going to have them do it this year, but I was part of a presentation where a man was teaching us divergent thinking, and he did this really cool exercise with a paperclip. And basically you had to write down things you could do with the paperclip. And then he taught us a whole lesson on divergent thinking. And then he had us do the exact same exercise again. And everyone in the room was able to 10x their list of things that they can do. And it was so meta because I'm like, that was crazy how we just started thinking differently, but it's so cool. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
cool.
I mean,
Google
that's
it.
where, a lot of the solutions, you got to think differently. If we're thinking the same way, we're going to have the same outcome, right?
Yep.
You have to think differently and push that envelope and kind of you're going to stand alone in that thinking, maybe with certain people who question it. And that's okay. That's feedback, and you question it yourself and remain curious. But if we don't think differently, then how's tomorrow going to be different? So.
Oh, it's so good. That's my favorite Joe Dispenza quote. Your familiar past will sooner or later become your predictable future. Right? It's like if you keep thinking the same things and doing the same things, you're going to continue living the same life. And that's okay if that's where you're at in that season. All right, final two questions. We ask everybody these two. So first up is our $50,000 question. If I were to cut you a check for $50,000 tomorrow and you have to use it in or on your business, you can split it up or use it in one lump sum. How would you invest the $50K?
On the next model of what we're doing. I would diversify that a bit.
Yeah.
With hiring, next phase of what we're trying to do, digital marketing. Yeah.
I love it. And then final question.
$1 million, I mean, it's tough. You got to really.
I know. Ad spend for sure. Yeah. The last question here, we named the company Digital Business Evolution because I believe you're always evolving and growing. And as you evolve and grow, so does your business. What is the next evolution of your personal life or your business life?
I feel I'm in that chapter right now, and went through some really big growth period where, experienced loss, got the, was moving at lightning speed, and where almost my body I was operating in red, and I realized I had to really heal some things for my personal growth and my business growth to expand. So I went through that. We're always continuing to evolve through that. Yeah. But I feel like I'm in a chapter where it's the page is turning. It's the next phase of, I've been working on many things for the past few years like this. I mean, so it's all kind of coming at once to, so that's where it's like the page is turning, the chapter's almost there, but it's, you just, again, have to remain present, enjoy the process. Yeah. And that's where I feel like I'm at day by day.
I love it. Well, Amber, we're all excited to watch you on the journey for the page being turned and whatever comes next. I'm so grateful for you and for the conversation that we had today. Friends, if you love this episode, as always, take a screenshot, share it on social media, tag Amber at the Flamingo House, tag me at I am Jessica DeRose. Let us know what some of your takeaways were. I know there were so many juicy things we talked about in building community and really reimagining solutions and thinking outside the box. So I'm just stoked to have you here. And as always, everybody, cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.